Welcome to episode 21 of the Kadence Theme podcast. If you joined us for episode 20, then you know that we kind of mixed things up and left Ben out of it. Well, now we're really mixing things up, and Kathy is not here, so this could really be a disaster. But we're going to give it a go and see what happens. Ben, how's it going?
Good. I think the only reason this isn't going to be a disaster is because we have a guest. If we were left to do the podcast on our own, like we have a guest, so we can just focus on that. But if it was just us, like no one would want to listen to us.
Well, here's the deal.
Kathy
if it was just us,
so much.
She helps so much. But what normally happens, for any who don't know, Ben and I are siblings. Ben's my big brother. I'm his little baby sister. And if in meetings where it's like just the two of us or like just us and Kathy, so quickly we'll start just talking about like Ben's kids or his family or whatever. And it's like, oh, shoot. So as much as I'm sure that you would all love to hear us talk about Ben's cute kids, we will spare you today. And we do have a guest. Our last episode, we brought in Maestro Stevens, and we just had such a great time chatting with him. He's one of our top affiliates and an amazing member of our Kadence community. And we were like, we should just keep doing this. So we reached out to another one of our top affiliates and someone who was just doing incredible things in WordPress. And so, yeah, we're going to bring him in. So we have Jake Pfohl here with us today.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah. How we doing?
Fantastic. Episode 21. Does that mean someone's going to buy the Kadence Beat a drink for turning 21?
That's a good point. That's a great point. We should have all been drinking on episode
Maybe.
21.
In the holiday spirit.
Yeah. Well, I, for one, am super excited that you're here, Jake. I've been a big fan of yours, and I've been following along as you've grown an audience of your own and really staked out a place in the WordPress community. It's really cool to see what you've done, and also just like to have you in our community is a huge blessing to like everybody that joins the Kadence community. Yeah. You are like the most outstanding member of like, you're super helpful. And you're doing a lot of really cool stuff in terms of tutorials, and even like with this not new, I should say, but fairly new, like cloud library. I'm really excited about everything you're doing. So it's fun to have you on. We've chatted a few times, but not that many. And so it's really nice to have you on and hear what you have to say and what you're thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Really appreciate it. Yeah, and I've been obviously big followers of both of you guys for quite a while since the Kadence Theme came out. So I'm really excited to share some of my expertise and knowledge and have a chat with you guys.
Cool.
Love it. Jake, how did you find Kadence and how did you get started with it?
Yeah, so I started blogging, if we go back in 2014, I started blogging, and I literally bought a little book called How to Start a Blog on Amazon. It was $3, and it taught me how to set up, web hosting and get your domain name purchased and all that kind of thing. And I just started a tech blog. I was writing about all sorts of things that I was interested in. Like, it was so random. I had like technology, WordPress, like music on there. Like, it had like zero niche or anything. Like, it did not have a focus, but it was funny. It was like less than 2 years after starting it. That blog was getting, I think, 30,000 visitors a month, like readers. And I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea how to monetize anything. And I was actually using the X theme with the Cornerstone page builder. It was like the first cool theme that I had saw. And I was like, oh man, this thing's awesome. And I think I spent like $60 to get that. And but my page speed started getting like so slow. In fact, I was looking at old analytics, and it was saying that my page fully loaded time was an average of 17 seconds, which is absolutely atrocious. Like content was obviously loading before then, but like by the time like all the scripts that had to run and everything were finished, it was like a 17 seconds. And I started losing a ton of like traffic. Like my website was so slow. And so I was like, I have to make a change. And I started taking blogging a lot more seriously in 2019. And I switched over to Astra with Elementor Page Builder in 2019. I honestly only used that for about 6 months. And the page speed was still not up to par to my liking. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that I was using a third-party page builder still. And I wasn't on the best hosting. And then in 2020, obviously Adam Preiser, I'm sure tons of people know that name in the Kadence community, made a video about the brand new modern Kadence theme. And I saw it and I was like, this thing is amazing. I was like, this theme is everything that I've wanted in a theme. And there were just so many things with the Kadence theme that were so easy to use. Like, this sounds so silly, but it's like when I was using Astra, at the time, in order to just show the updated date, like on a blog post, like I had to write like a little like custom piece of CSS to like hide the publish date and show the updated date. And in Kadence, it was just a flip of a toggle. Like it was so easy. And like for beginners, like that was a question that was like asked all the time in like these communities, was like, how do I show the last updated date? And it's like, well, you have to write a little piece of CSS. And I was like, it shouldn't have to be like that, right? Like it should be so much easier than that. And the free version of the Kadence theme had so many features when it was first released. In fact, there wasn't even a pro version when you guys released it in March of 2020. And there were more free features in the free Kadence theme when I got it than I had in Astra Pro, which I had paid $50 for at the time. And so I was like, this theme's just incredible. Like, more people need to, start using this. And I started just raving about it, and it kind of just went from there.
Wow. That's awesome.
It's cool to hear your like progression through like technologies and themes, and then understanding like, oh, I need to get a better host at some point. Like, I did a lot of that path way back in 2012 when I started first like looking into development, and that drove me to develop my first theme. And that was, 2012 was a totally different world of themes and everything else, but it's cool to see because there is a progression, and it's cool to see that like for so long it was feature based, and we were all trying to get features to build our websites, and then features finally caught up, and then it was like, we need performance. Like, it really switched hard to like, I can't just have a theme that gives me a million options. I need to have like really good performance. And so that's like been a huge goal of mine, of how do we continue to develop really cool features and keep the performance really good. So
yeah, and Core Web Vitals, are such a huge thing. I mean, if you go on like even like explodingtopics.com or whatever, it's like Core Web Vitals, that trend is just like this massive trend upwards in the past like couple of years. And using the Kadence theme, obviously paired with a fast host, with dedicated resources and things like that, like it makes it so simple to pass Core Web Vitals on your website. Whereas like all these people are like using like asset cleanup and all sorts of things to like just like get rid of the bloated mess that they have because like the code's not modular and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Jake, I'm curious, what made you start a blog, and what were you initially blogging about?
So like I said, like with that tech blog, I started literally just I would just write about anything that I was interested in at the time. And it was just kind of funny because like a couple of the posts like ended up taking off and making up the majority of my traffic, that 80-20 rule of like 20% of my posts were bringing in 80% of the traffic kind of thing. But, it was actually in learning about that tech blog, figuring out like how to build an affiliate blog, going through all the like struggles of like page speed and performance. And it was like in learning all that, I was constantly searching things, and watching YouTube videos and taking all that in. And then that's when I finally decided to start my brand of Start Blogging 101, which I think I bought the domain in like 2017, but I never really took it seriously or added to it until like, it was like late 2019, early 2020, about the time that I started using the Kadence theme. And that's when I started taking that brand, taking all of the knowledge of that I had learned with that previous blog, and just teaching others how to build their own, fast, profitable WordPress website.
You guys started doing Starter Blog 101, which is awesome. You're doing a lot of stuff. What do you see as like, as you're helping people start their blogs and you're like really targeting in on that like people group, what do you see as like one of the biggest challenges for them right now in starting a blog?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say the number one problem that people have is literally just getting started. And I know that sounds simple, but in talking to like friends or family or just anyone, I'm like, hey, like you should start this blog and you should, you know, start an affiliate blog that can bring in, you know, some passive revenue through affiliate sales and things like that. And people that don't even know about like WordPress or whatever, like they're just like, how do I get started? They have no idea how to even just get started. It's like they don't know about like what, you know, having to buy a web host. They don't, you know, like how do I purchase my domain name? How do I install WordPress? And then like, how do I just get started like with building a landing page or like creating a blog post? And so that has been like one of my main missions is to help bridge that gap for beginners and make it as easy as possible for someone to be able to get a blog started. And then, hey, here's like, you know, the overall plan is like, choose like one of these like child themes, or it's just basically like a starter template that like Kadence offers. You know, here's like different child themes to choose from that can get your blog started. Here's all the templates, you know, that I have that you can add to easily build that page and kind of go from there. So yeah, I mean, I would just say it's getting started, because that's the biggest roadblock for a lot of people, and they just need to take that first step and get in there.
Yeah. When I used to build websites for people way back in the day, people would come to me and be like, hey, how should I get started or whatever? And I would always, because I was a little jaded because of how many people like said they want to get started then don't, right? Especially if you're doing that for money. But so I'd be like, go and write 3 blog posts. And when you actually have content, then come back and talk to me. And then generally no one would. And honestly, I think that's horrible advice now. Like I'm just telling you how like mean I can be. Like, I think like I would tell most people, like, just get your first blog post published and make it good enough that you're willing to share it on social media. Like, work on one and make it good enough to show it. Because like you don't need everything figured out and a whole series of blog posts or anything else. If you can just write one and get it posted, that is going to give you the energy to go to the next one, versus like feeling like, okay, I want to write a recipe blog. And so now I need to like compile 20 recipes and figure out how to get them all. And it's like, no, just start with the most basic, get one posted that you're willing to share with people. And then that'll get you all the way energized to keep going. Because you're right. Like, it does feel like a whole lot to like, I got to build a whole website and to make this all like work and figure out how am I going to monetize and all that. It's like, just to me, just get one posted and go from there, and it'll energize you to like really take off.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. In fact, there's a lot of things that I've like read online that a lot of people, you know, they kind of focus on like that inspiration and motivation to hit to then lead to action. But really, it's like action leads to the inspiration and the motivation kind of thing. And I've found that to be so true, especially in building the blog. It's like, I have, you know, we all have those days where you're just sitting there like, man, I have not gotten anything done with, you know, with my blog, or I haven't like done anything to like, you know, work towards my goals today. But if you just get in there and just start something, you know, start writing a blog post, you'll start to get that spark. And then it's like, oh, okay. And then that motivation comes, it you know, it just keeps rolling, and it goes from there.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's like working out. The hardest thing to do is get to the gym.
100%. Yep.
Just get your feet in the doorway. That's like, if you can do that, you've made it.
Yeah, it's so true. Jake, there are obviously so many people who have blogs and they're unsuccessful. And in unsuccessful, I mean like people don't go to them. And maybe you don't have an answer for this, but I'm curious if you know what you would say was like your number one reason why your blog has become what it became. Like, how did you start getting 30,000 views? You know, like what were kind of some key things you were doing to bring people in to make your blog so successful?
Yeah. So the very first blog, I would say, it was funny, and I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this, but back in 2014, I wrote a post, and it was, it was why Android phones are better than iPhones at the time. And
lies.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of funny, like, to be completely honest, like it all ended up just being organic traffic that came in. And I started outranking some of the major websites out there for certain keywords, like Forbes and CNET and things like that, which was just absolutely crazy to me. And like, I would just say one of the biggest pieces that has gotten traffic, has gotten people to share the content, which ultimately naturally leads to links, which I really like, is just creating amazing content. Like, it really just comes down to that. It's like, if you can just create the absolute best content about a certain topic because of the expertise that you have or whatever it is, I promise you that it will start ranking. People are going to link to it. People are going to feel, like they want to share it because they want to tell other people about it because it is the best thing out there. Whereas I see a lot of people, and I'm not saying that this is wrong at all. I mean, it just completely depends on what area you want to go in. But tons and tons of people try to crank out as many blog posts as possible, these little like 1,000 word blog posts. And sometimes that can work, I mean, if the content's great and you're just like trying to, get some search intent for a certain piece, that's fine. But like, my main focus has always been comprehensive articles. Like I have a couple articles that are 10,000 words, which is insane. And but like especially as Google evolves, Google is looking for search intent, right? They want to take that and show people exactly what they're looking for. And so every single time that you can break down a blog post into a different section, just think of that as being kind of its own little blog post. Like you can literally make a heading that answers a question. And if someone searches that question on Google and it's the best, answer according to Google, they're going to send people to your website. They're going to point directly to that little section. It's probably going to be like highlighted. And you can do that all in one comprehensive blog post. I like doing that so much more around a single topic than making, a single blog post for every single little question. And I think that that's been a huge piece for helping drive traffic.
That's cool.
Awesome.
That puts your content too more in a situation where you're updating it when like it's needed versus like needing to write a new blog post because that old blog post is out of date. Like,
yep, exactly.
You're building more of resource posts than like, super timely, like this is irrelevant in 6 months kind of post.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, I heard somebody talking about amazing content, and then I heard there's this party happening, and I'm not there, so I had to like pop in.
Kathy,
yeah, it was amazing content itself.
I get the whole trifecta of Kadence people. This is amazing.
You came to save the day. Is that what happened?
We tell Kathy to take a break and she can't do it.
I can't. My ears started burning because I heard somebody talking about amazing content, and then they were adding amazing content onto that, and Jake was just like on it, and I my ears started burning, so I had to jump in and say that was amazing. So
that's hilarious.
You guys are doing great.
It's Kathy
I love
approved.
this.
All right.
It's Kathy approved. I love it.
Nice.
Great job, you guys.
Thanks, Kathy.
I'm going back to my.
Well, that was an abrupt ending.
And she's gone.
Good talk. See you later.
That's hilarious. Kadence would not be what it is without Kathy. She's the best.
She's awesome. What are you excited about learning right now?
Would you just say in general?
Yeah, like it doesn't even have to be WordPress related. Like, what are you really excited about right now?
I mean, I could look up WordPress stuff all day, every day kind of thing. I love finding new ways to do things, figuring out the best products and that kind of thing, that I can research and start using to help with the blog. But I mean, just outside of WordPress, I mean, I'm always reading a book or listening to an audiobook. I've been getting into audiobooks quite a bit, or listening to the podcasts. I'm a big fan of like just self-development kind of stuff. I've always kind of been a fan of that. I mean, there's so many to mention, but I mean, you guys talk about building a story brand by Donald Miller all the time. If you have a website and you want to hone in on your messaging and, get customers and loyal customers, I 100% recommend that book. In fact, there's still things that I need to do on my websites to really fully follow that brand. But that's a good one. I've listened to and read a number of like Russell Brunson stuff for marketing and like funnels and that kind of thing. One of the latest books I read was The Power of One More by Ed Milet. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of Ed Milet, but absolutely amazing. He just overall, just like kind of life, like if you want to just supercharge your life, a lot of them are very business related. So like if you have an entrepreneurial like mindset, I 100% recommend Ed Milet. And I mean, every one of his podcasts, he brings someone in, and it's 45 minutes of just pure gold. I mean, it's like listening to like a small novel of wisdom every time you listen to one of those things. So
That's
I'm very eclectic when it comes to the things that I'm, into and listening to. So I just kind of try to soak it all in. How about you guys?
Cool.
Learning. I mean, I think there's, I just started a leadership book, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team.
Yep.
And so there's that aspect, like outside of WordPress, where I'm like, as Kadence is growing and I'm trying to figure out how do we function better as a team. I'm really, really interested in systems right now, in terms of like, how do we create just better internal systems for how we do communication and meetings and all of that. And so that's like, I would say that's like a non-WordPress learning area. I think, WordPress related right now, my head is totally just what's going on in Gutenberg and where we're going to innovate, and really thinking about, as we come into the next year, how we're going to do some pathways into more full site editing stuff with the theme, and some new ways to just help customers make content easier, like getting started easier. And then of course, like, this is, everyone's heard about Blocks 3.0 at this point, but really getting that out the door, and with the new UI for all of our blocks and all of that. So I guess that's like, those are the big ones for me.
Yeah, for me, non-WordPress related, I think the biggest thing I'm learning is how to run a lot and not get injured. I'm training for the Boston Marathon in the spring, and just always trying to figure out like how to get my body / health in like optimal shape. So that's been kind of interesting to like dive into nutrition more and things like that.
That is incredible.
And then
Good
in
for
WordPress,
you.
thanks. In WordPress, marketing has been actually, it shouldn't be a new thing because I've been working with Kadence for like 8 years, but for the longest time, and really probably before Kathy, we didn't really have much for marketing. Like, it's really just amazing that Kadence became what it became without Kathy. But it's been fun to see, just to learn so much about marketing and how it looks so different for us than it does for other people. Like, we have such an incredible niche with our Kadence community, and just growing that has been so fun, and learning more about what it looks like to kind of steward that. So yeah, that's been fun. I'm not really a researcher. Learning is like I love to learn, but I'm not someone who's like, oh, let me go like research this thing for 10 hours. I love having close friends who love to do those things, and then I can glean from them.
You can just soak it all in.
But like, my least favorite class in school was a research class, so I'm like, oh, it's just not for me. But I like learning. But yeah. Okay, but Jake, another question for you. If you could go back to like when you started, or even just a couple years ago, what's something that you would tell yourself? And this is in WordPress context. What's something that you would tell yourself, or something you wish you would have done differently, a couple years ago?
Yeah, I would say, 2 years ago, that was about the time that I started going, full in on like building, with blocks, right? Just using Gutenberg, the built-in WordPress block editor. I had ditched third-party page builders at the time, and I'd say if I went back 2 years, I wish that I would have just told myself to continue on that path, which I have done, and just been like, hey, like this is going to be, the future of WordPress. Like blocks are fantastic. I wish I would have known that all of these like things like Kadence Cloud and all that would come out, and that I had started, my cloud library even sooner, because, I just see so many people shifting from third-party page builders and coming over to block-based themes and tools and things like that. And it's just awesome. It's awesome to see that movement and everybody continuing to go down that path.
Yeah. Speaking of Kadence Cloud, when did you start using that, and what made you kind of start making that a part of what you do? Because it's a little bit different from what you were doing before. It's like offering design libraries is a huge part of what you do, isn't right? Am I right about that?
Yeah. So the design
Tell me
library,
I'm right.
So the design library, it was funny. Like, so in building my affiliate blogs and things like that, like I started Start Blogging 101, and I would have all these different things that I was doing for like product reviews, and I'd have a little section in like my sidebar that says like, hey, here are the resources I use, and I'd have like I'd use like Kadence to like have a sticky like CTA that when people like scroll down, it would say like, hey, here's like an ebook, you know, with like a lead magnet for like a form or whatever. And I'd get all these people, like the most common question I'd get is, how do I build this little thing on your website? And so I was like, okay, well, I can create a tutorial for you. And so I have a number of like written tutorials and like video tutorials out there showing you how to build like all these different like little components, like a pricing table, or maybe like a about the author section, or like a little like product box for like, you know, putting a product in there. And I was just like sitting there and I'm like, you know, you can go through this tutorial, but it's like, it still might take someone, you know, 1 to 2 hours to build this little component themselves. I'm like, it'd be so awesome if I could just take this like template and just allow someone to just use it on their website easily. And then it was like May of 2021 or whatever it was, you know, Kadence Cloud came out, and I was like, this is absolutely amazing. I'm like, this is exactly what I've been looking for. I can now have people, you know, I can put all these templates that I pre-build. I can have them just hosted in this library. People can connect up. It takes literally like 3 small steps. I think you can connect in like less than a minute, and people can be importing in these templates with 1 click on their website. It just works perfectly. Kadence has the global color palette, which is such an underrated thing in my opinion. I mean, I know that there's a lot of themes that have that right now, but it's like the fact that you can just bring in a design and have all of your brand colors there like instantly is amazing. Because it's like in the past when you'd use templates, it's like you would import something in and it's like you'd have to go to like the button and you'd have to go to the border and whatever, and you'd have to like set every single thing to the color that you want. And I know that sounds easy, but it's like you don't realize how easy it truly is when you don't have to make those, you know, several hundred extra clicks to set your colors, and it comes in and it just looks beautiful right off the bat.
Yeah.
Jake, you have your own community on Facebook. Is that right?
Yep.
What's that called?
Yeah, so it's WordPress Without Page Builders by Start Blogging 101. And so I started that in April of 2020, and that's actually the same time that the Kadence group came out. And I ended up joining the Kadence group in May of 2020. So I've been in that group for about 2.5 years now. But so I started my group in April of 2020. WordPress Without Page Builders, and it didn't actually have that name until December of that year, and that was more or less because I did start to find my niche, right? Like I started to figure out like what people are into and that kind of thing, and it is very Kadence based, but I mean it's for anyone that just wants to learn how to build a fast, profitable WordPress site, without using third-party page builders. We have a number of people in there that are using all sorts of popular themes, whether it's Kadence or Astra or GeneratePress or Blocksy or any of those, just any of those that are like really focused on Gutenberg. But as I said, I mean, it is very Kadence based, and I do have a number of Kadence tutorials because it's my favorite theme to use.
Which we appreciate
we
so
love to hear
much.
that. Yeah. It'd be bad if you were like, yeah, it's my second favorite theme.
It's my second favorite theme to use.
We are stoked that you're a fan of ours because we're fans of yours as well.
I appreciate that.
For sure. And we're all in your Facebook group as well. So.
Yes. Yeah. When you guys joined, I'm like, this is amazing. So Hannah joined my group, and I was like, oh man, like this group's gonna be famous. I'm starting to get all, the Kadence team in here. And Kathy was in there, and then Hannah invited Ben in there. And it's funny because like when someone joins a Facebook group, for people that have Facebook groups, you can see how many groups people have in common with you. And so I always know like. If someone joins the group, like I can see like, oh, this person's in, these 7 other WordPress groups, because I'm in like probably like 50 WordPress groups. And the only WordPress group that Ben was in was the Kadence community, the Kadence Facebook group. And I was like, there are so many Facebook groups out there, and Ben's now in my Facebook Ben's now in my Facebook group. That means I've officially made it. And
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That also shows that Ben is not active on social media.
Well, yeah, that's it. But we don't need to talk about that. We're just gonna pretend like Ben just loves this group. It's a second favorite group right behind the Kadence group.
So funny.
Yeah, I've had to limit what I'm doing on social media to keep my sanity. But I'm really hopeful that I'm going to be more involved next year. It's one of my things I've been thinking about is I want to be more involved in the community directly. I think for sanity and because of workload, I've really had to not be that involved. But that's something I'm hoping to change because I do like it. There's so many things happening right now, and I've had to be like, okay, this is one I can at least step away from for a while. But
yeah, I mean, it's like a part-time or full-time job. I mean, if you're in there and like, I mean, I'm sure Hannah and Kathy both, I mean, you guys are constantly involved in the Kadence group. And I mean, there's so many people coming in and asking great questions. And yeah, I mean, and you're doing such amazing work, Ben, that it's like, yeah, I completely understand, you needing to step away, not be involved in that social media aspect and just focus on development.
It's going to come back around because I do want to be more a part.
Well, Jake, what's next for Start Blogging Blocks?
Yeah, so Start Blogging Blocks, what's next? So right now, in fact, we launched in April of this year. And at the time, we had only 30 templates. And so now we're in December 1st. It's crazy that we're in December already. And we are right around 250 templates already. We have templates for building affiliate blog posts. So there are a ton of templates in there that are focused on blog posts. So that's going to be like alerts. That's going to be CTAs. That's going to be product boxes, all sorts of things that let you create an affiliate blog post. And then we also have a different collection called the page building collection. And that is strictly focused on different sections and things for building a landing page. So that's going to be your hero and content sections. That's going to be like testimonials. That's going to be frequently asked questions, pricing tables, anything that you might need to build an entire landing page that's going to convert. And all of our blocks are completely conversion focused. It's like you can have a website that looks beautiful, and has the best design ever, but you need it to sell at the same time too. And so that's what I've kind of really focused on with the blocks, is having something that looks really, really good and is conversion focused and has been proven, to convert and sell and that kind of thing. And then actually just this past week, we released 2 more collections. One is a social collection. So I actually got the idea from one of Kathy's blog posts. She showed you how to make a complete Linktree page using Kadence. And I was like, that's such a great idea. I'm like, if you have a website that's hosted on a domain, I'm like, you can just make a link page, /links or /Linktree or whatever. And you can have all your links listed there, and you don't have to pay Linktree a cent. You don't have to pay for that subscription. And you have way more customization options available to you because you can build it however you want. And so I built a number of these Linktree templates, like full page templates, that all you have to do is just, you can enter in your images, enter in your links, and then put an image of yourself. You can put your Instagram handle, or you can put it, in whatever bio you want. And then also with that social collection, are like social CTAs. So get people to your social pages and entice people to click there. And then the other collection, which I'm super excited about, that came out this week, was the full pages collection. And so in that collection, we have full sales funnels. So there's one that we released that's like an ebook sales funnel. So, I mean, you click once and this thing is an entire page that comes in. I mean, it has your hero section, your content sections, testimonials, all in one fell swoop. And all you have to do is put in your ebook image, fill in the copy that you want. And you're basically done. And there's a number of call to action buttons. And then also blog post outlines are a huge thing that we're going to be focusing on. So right now we have a blog post outline for a product review, and it's so cool because it's you click once and you have you have the intro, you have this whole product summary that I have built out that looks just great. I've used it in a number of my product reviews, and I've gotten the featured snippet on a number of my product reviews, from using just the little paragraph, the section sectioned off paragraph in that product summary. And then I have like a whole outline that Google loves. It just has that structure. It has your product pros and cons. It has, product alternatives and things like that. So we're going to be focused on a lot of full page blog post outlines for all sorts of blog posts that you might write, whether it be like a listicle, product review, a comparison post, how to, that's something that I've been working on and writing for a while. And so I have a lot of knowledge there, and I'm going to turn that into a template.
Come on.
That is
That's
so
awesome.
cool. I'm stoked to hear you talk about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know Jake's like helping Kadence a lot with feedback on a lot of this stuff. Like we're making different parts of Cloud and how that works better because Jake emails me. It's like, hey, this is okay, but it could be better. What do you think? And I'm like, I think you're right. I think it could be better. Let's do that. Which yeah, we're going to be pushing out an update for full site. Those full page ones, you want the auto scroll, which is
the auto scroll would be awesome.
Yeah,
because we have the screenshot, right, and it's like this
it's
super
super
long screenshot, and people have to scroll down to see it.
We're gonna fix that.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. You just like hover over it, and it just kind of starts scrolling the page, and you can see the whole thing.
So you do a lot of product reviews. What non-Kadence product are you excited about right now that is in WordPress that you're like, I think this is really cool?
I've gotten in a lot, I've really been into like the AI tools kind of thing. I really like to see some of the AI tools that are coming out. You have a lot of popular ones such as Jasper AI and things like that. And one thing that I haven't really told many people about this, but one thing that I want to do, and I know that Adam Preiser is coming out with a number of products, the Sure products. So like Sure Cart, Sure Members, Sure Triggers, which is like an automation platform. And then they're going to be releasing Sure Writer, which is a AI writing tool as well. And that is going to have a WordPress integration. So that's going to have a WordPress plugin. And what I'm hoping to eventually do, and I don't know if this is going to be possible, but what I would love to do, so those full blog post outlines that I would love if in those blog post outlines, I write an AI command that people can have in there, and all they have to do is just plug in like their product name, and they can run that, and it will go and automatically start spitting out information in the editor. That would be an amazing way to create a blog post a lot faster. Now, that being said, I don't use AI tools a ton for my writing. More than anything, it's to help me get out of writer's block. So I'm the hardest part for me, and it's just starting a website is getting started. And there's so many times I start a product review and I'm literally staring at this blinking cursor for 10 minutes. And I'm I don't even know how to start this product review. And I've liked AI writing tools for that kind of thing because they're really good at writing persuasive copy. And then it's I've been writing for a long time on my blog, so I always tweak it, and I would 100% recommend tweaking that content that gets spit out and making it your own. But that's been one of my big focuses recently.
Cool.
Well, Jake, thanks so much for joining us today. I feel like we could just chat all day and ask questions, but
we
should
can
probably end this at some point.
I was just gonna
thanks.
I was just gonna say at the end here, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you guys so much for everything that you have done. I mean, you guys, the tools that you have made have honestly completely changed my life, and it's given me the tools to be able to change the lives of thousands of others that are in my Facebook group, and everyone that comes to and reads my tutorials and figures out how to build a website for themselves. I mean, it is life-changing, the things that you guys are doing, and I say thank you so many times. In fact, Ben can probably vouch for this, or anyone on the Kadence support team. I write novels of emails. So if you took all of my emails to Ben, you could probably publish 1,000-page ebook in just questions and things. I don't stop talking, and in my emails, they're probably this guy Jake says thank you 55 times in an email, and I've never seen that before. So, but I do truly, honestly appreciate everything that you guys are doing. I mean, Kadence would not be what it is without you guys, obviously, and I'm so appreciative of all that.
Well, we feel the same about you, so I definitely recommend everyone go check out what Jake's doing. Join his Facebook group, and definitely go to his website. Like it, yeah. I've gotten to play around a little bit with his cloud library in helping fix some stuff in Kadence. And it's very cool. I'm very stoked about it.
We'll add some links in the show notes for Jake's stuff. But thanks so much, Jake. Thanks for being here. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And we'll see you guys next time.